Rastafari is an Africa-centered religion, which was developed in the 1930s. This religion started its development when Europeans started to colonize Africa and take some as slaves. At this moment, Rastafarians only first started its development. After this, Africans were divided up and taken from their country as slaves. During this period, Africans saw this act of the Europeans as a suppression to their culture. However, now Rastafarians see this as a suppression that will end and return them to Zion, or also known as Ethiopia, and in this place they'll be with Christ and or Jah. Skip to 1930s, a movement was started in Jamaica by political leaders to unify blacks with their origin and homeland. During this movement, a political leader, Garvey, basically said, "Your king and redeemer is coming." His prophecy was followed by the crowning of Haile Selassie. This is partly why Haile Selassie is deeply regarded to as the Black Messiah or Jah. Mid-1930s, the first actual branch of Rastafarianism was discovered. It was discovered by Leonard P. Howell. This branch of Rastafarian dealt more with the black power and black superiority. By this point, Rastafarianism can actually be regarded to as a religion or a lifestyle. Skip to 1945, Rastafarian's biggest preacher of the religion was born, Robert Nesta Marley, or also known as Bob Marley. In the 1970s is really when he started preaching Rastafarianism through his music. Many regard him as the king of Rastafarianism. Religious experiences. Jah, also known as Jaja. This term is used to address their God, who is not Chuin, which is consisting of three, like the Holy Trinity. Jah also cannot provide eternal salvation to his believers. Haile Selassie, he can be considered Jah. He is also said to be an incarnation of Christ. Religious teachings. A religious teaching is Christ came to earth as a divine being. After Christ, Haile Selassie was born as an incarnation of Christ. Ethiopia, another religious teaching, is Ethiopia or Zion, which is Rastas believe Ethiopia is the sacred place. Ethiopia, also another religion teacher, is Ethiopia is heaven and Jamaica is hell. So Jamaica is like the bad place. Sacred stories. Sacred story, which is like the Bible to Rastafarianism, is called the Holy Pibi, which can also be regarded to as the Black Man's Bible. This book was written in 1920 by Robert Athly Rogers. It was made up of 4 books: Athly, Aggregation, The Facts of Apostles, and The Precaution. These 4 books held God's teaching and holds God's teaching. Sacred symbols or rituals. So, red, gold, and green, and black. The red represents black struggle for liberation. Green represents Ethiopia's beauty and its vegetation. Gold represents the wealth of Africa as a homeland. Black is said to represent the African's color. And Lion of Judah, which is another symbol, represents Haile Selassie as a king of kings, and it emphasizes strength in the black community. Community of faith. Rastas are people who believe Haile Selassie was the incarnation of Christ and is an important figure in Rastafarianism. So they're basically like Rastafarians. Morality. So basically, all Rastafarians' rules are like 10 commandments. So do not make yourself an idol. Do not take the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath and keep that day holy. Honor your mother and father. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. And finally, another morality is most Rastafaris are vegetarians.